a couple of weeks ago I got the date wrong. Then last week I completely forgot to film my River Roundup until it was a day late. So I'm guessing that my internal calendar is completely out of sync. But anyway, this week I'm going to get it right. G'day folks, welcome to Robbie's River Roundup for Friday the 44th of October 2014. Proudly brought to you by Adventure Camping and Fishing at 14 Rowan Street, Wangaratta, where they don't sell calendars, but they probably should. But what they do sell is Murray cod gear, and with only 3 and a bit weeks to go until the season opens, they are stocking up and they have got all bases covered. So if you're looking for cod lures or anything cod related, Adventure Camping and Fishing have got it all in store right now. I'm up here in a mountain stream, a tiny little tributary of the King River, chasing a trout. It's getting a bit late in the season. Hang on, just excuse me, I'm going to put these sunglasses on because that sun is belting right in my eyes. I'm up here chasing a trout. It's going to be tough going. I might get one or two if I'm lucky, but I don't know because we've had a lot of warm weather. Our average temperature over the last few days has been up over 30 degrees, and these smaller streams are always the quickest to warm up. I have, however, moved upstream towards the headwaters of this creek. A couple of months ago I was catching trout 8 or 9 kilometres downstream from here, but that water now is too warm and those fish are sulking. What they do, the trout, when the water gets too warm, they'll still be there. They'll find the deepest holes they can find and they'll sit in the bottom of the deep holes and they'll sulk pretty much. They'll sometimes go weeks without feeding. They can do that, they're not like us. And then when we get a nice heavy storm or heavy shower or thunderstorm, they get a good flush of fresh water come through. It might be a little bit cooler. They will come out of those deep holes and they will go on a feeding frenzy, and then they'll retreat back to their holes and wait the summer out. So while they're probably not biting down there, they're still there. Up here the water's a bit cooler, they're still semi-active. They're following, they're tapping, they might strike and they might hook up and they might not. But it is cooler. As the water gets even warmer again over the next 4 or 5 weeks, we'll need to push even further up into the mountains and head right up high up around Mount Beauty, Harrietville, the upper Hauqua, up into the real snow-fed or alpine, alpine streams. And these streams, which I call semi-rural because they come out of the forest and into the farmland, they'll be starting to get too warm. Like I said, over the next couple of months when it gets hot, if we get a real decent heavy amount of rain, a decent thunderstorm, some heavy showers, and as a good flush comes through, that's a great time to catch trout. The thing to remember is, having sat at the bottom of their deep hole for a few weeks and not fed, they're going to be lean. They're not going to be nice, big, fit, fat, fighting trout. They're going to be lean, they're going to take the lure, and they're not going to fight very well. So while you might be able to catch them, they're not worth keeping. They're better off to be put back so that when the weather cools down they can feed actively again, put on some condition and then spawn in the autumn. And then they're ready to go next trout season. Talking about catching and keeping fish, I'm not against people keeping trout, but this particular pool that I'm fishing here now, it's a good hole. I normally see 1 or 2 fish in here. I've caught fish in here on 2 occasions this season. Today I've come up here and haven't had a touch. No follow, no fish in the shallows, and I'm guessing that someone's probably caught a couple of trout that were in here and kept them. I don't have a thing against people keeping a feed of fish, but I think it is very critical at the moment, with the streams being as fragile as they are, it is critical to practice catch and release. I don't like to force feed catch and release on people, but we need to look after our trout stocks. There's plenty of trout stocked into the lakes. There's plenty of trout in the natural lakes like Lake Dartmouth where they recruit naturally in the rivers and move back down. Keep as many trout as you like. We kept a few trout out of Dartmouth back in August. But these little streams that are a bit touch and go at the moment, if you leave them alone, within a couple of years they should recover. How are the rest of the rivers looking? We already know the trout streams are warming up. The lowland rivers are looking really good, but they're getting very low. When they get low, they start to, you can just see leaves floating on the surface. They don't have that fresh flush going through and clearing the water out, and the water gets a bit of a darker tannin sort of a look. When it's really high and dirty after rain, it gets a light brown sort of colour. Then it goes through a really nice, clean, green sort of colour where you can see a couple of feet into the water and it looks good. Then when it gets really low and the oxygen sort of starts dropping out of it, it gets a brown colour and you can't see as far into the water. It's still reasonably clear, but that's just a low summer level, and that normally occurs around about late December. It's now not even mid-November and it's already beginning to look like late December in the rivers because we haven't had much rain. I think they're still going to be good for cod opening in a few weeks, provided we don't get a big flood between now and then. They're going to look good, but they are looking good now. The bigger trout rivers are looking sensational, like the Kiwa and the Ovens. Looking sensational and fishing sensational are 2 different things. The trout, as we know, are struggling. So the rivers are looking good, the trout streams are looking, the bigger streams are looking good, the smaller streams are warming up. The lowland areas are looking really good. Those with yellow belly in them, like the Broken and the Campaspe, they're fishing very well at the moment. This is yellow belly season, and so are the lakes incidentally. Lake Eildon, Lake Hume, Lake Nilakudi, Lake Epilock, they're all producing yellow belly. This is a great time of year to go and wet a line, and there's just 3 weeks or a bit over 3 weeks to go into the cod season. I'm very excited. Probably fished 10 or a dozen nice pools. I've seen 3 fish. One just gently tapped my lure. I spooked one back there, and I had one looking at my lure before with no interest. It's very, very tough when the water starts warming up this time of the year. It's low, it's clear. I've got to be super duper stealth-like in my approach. I'll have another crack at this one, but I don't think you'll come back. If he does come back, unless I've got the right lure on. I've got a small Metalhead soft plastic. Something small and natural when they're like this. Be it a striped tiger nymph, a Metalhead soft plastic, a little weeny gulp grub or something, just something small and natural looking. But even then, it's that little something small and natural will give you the best chance. But there's still no guarantees. Once that water warms up and they start switching off during the day, especially, it's really, really tough. One big one. The size of this fish. Have a look at that. Whoa, 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 back in the water. In case you missed it, have a look at the size of that fish. Woohoo! Probably a good 2.5 pound, maybe 51, 52 centimetres. Just going to get a quick photo, then put him back. Put the camera into photo mode. Right, I've just taken a quick video. Sorry, a quick photo. I'll put him back. It's very important that I get him back in the water as quickly as possible. He's been out about 25 seconds probably. Get him back in. Getting ready, there he goes. Oh. That was a bit deeper than I expected. I stood in and it was up to my waist. I had that fish out of the water for probably 25-30 seconds at the most. In the springtime, then it's a bit cooler. You can hold them up, you can take a photo, you can stuff around a bit, then you put them back. But when it's warm like this, if you want to release your fish, you've got a really short period of time, then you've got to quickly get them back in the water and swim them. That fish was probably 50 centimetres, a bit over, 2.5, maybe close to the 2.75 pound. That's a pretty fair guess. I've been catching trout all my life and I'm not too bad with my estimates. I'm absolutely pumped. Remember what I said, or what I whispered? But the really small, natural looking lure. In this case it was my own. And I'm going to give my own lures a free plug right now. That is the Metalhead, 40mm Metalhead soft plastic in black metal colour. I named them that because I love heavy metal. And I like it to be unique. These are for sale for $8 a bag at Adventure Camping and Fishing, and I just took a heap of black ones down there and stuck them on their shelf. If you're outside of Wangaratta and you want to buy some, you can give me a buzz. Contact me on Facebook or or send me an email to robbie@robbiefishing.com. But anyway, that's the end of my free plug. 40mm, little dark and small. These trout will swim around all day feeding on little weeny nymphs and little weeny food sources, because they like to just, they what's the word, they graze. They just go around grazing on little nymphs, tadpoles, minnows. That fish was very fat, and I suspect he's been eating smaller fish. I don't keep many fish. I would never keep one out of a creek like this, but if I did, I reckon if I gutted him, he'd be full of little trout. That might be why I haven't seen as many as what I did last time. The old black metal soft plastic. And don't forget, if you get a nice fish in the summer and you want to put it back, get it back in the water quick. If you stuff around too much, you will have trouble getting it to swim away. So there you go. Just to cap off my River Roundup. It's tough going. I've fished for probably an hour and a half to catch that fish. I've had a couple of other follows, and that's all. The water's warming up, the water's clear, and the fish are getting very educated, or very flighty, I suppose you could say. I've been carrying my camera with me everywhere to catch these fish, or to try and catch these fish. This time I left my camera here and I walked right up to that bend, almost out of camera sighting, just to be less viewable, I suppose, less seeable, less noticeable, or more stealth-like, for want of a better word. Anyway, it's a Thursday morning, got the day off work, a lazy 2.5 pounder, can't complain. Have a great week everyone, and I'll see you next week.